watching. Today is my 25th birthday. Woo! And I just kind of wanted to share about my 24th year. So, this year was the worst year of my entire life. And if you knew me while I was 24, I feel really bad for you. Last year at this exact time, I was in a really serious relationship, and we were talking about marriage, and I got scared, and there was just some things that I felt like weren't right. So I ended the relationship, and it was a pretty serious breakup. And they say that as a Christian, the biggest fear that Christians have is that God will not fulfill his promises to you. And I found that to be 100% true, because when I broke up with him, and this has nothing to do with him, this is all me. When I broke up with him, it was like I felt that God wasn't fulfilling his promises to me. I felt like I'm never going to have a husband. I'm never going to have a family. I'm never going to have that successful career I want. And this switch went off in my brain. And it was like, okay, well, if God's not going to fulfill his promises to me, I'm going to go off and do my own thing. And when you stop pursuing God, when you stop seeking him and stop having intimate relationship with Jesus, when you stop pursuing God, that can wreak havoc on your life. And I learned that the hard way. So I turned 24, this switch went off, and I stopped pursuing God, and so much chaos happened. I went off on my own to do my own thing. I moved out of my parents' house, got my own place, just kind of was doing my own thing. And, I was on drugs. I was with guys. I started to struggle with this severe depression and anxiety, and became super suicidal. It was terrible. I'm telling you right now, it was like anything that you can think of, I was struggling with it. And I just became so depressed. And I was having these panic attacks all the time, like these public panic attacks where I'd be curled up in a ball in public, crying, not able to breathe. It was becoming like debilitating. And I had never struggled with anything like that in my life before. And I never understood, as a Christian, I never understood how people could struggle with that. We serve a God who heals, and we serve a God who restores people's lives. So I never understood, how can people be depressed? How can people have this terrible, debilitating anxiety? And, how can people do drugs and sleep around and drink and party and all these things? I never understood. But I could sympathize with people. And, I felt bad for people when they would talk about their struggles. Of course, I sympathized, wholeheartedly sympathized, but I could not empathize because I had never gone through it. And I became somebody that I didn't recognize. I would look in the mirror. I had no idea who I was looking at in the mirror. I had gained 60 pounds in a matter of 3 months. I was just a shell of a human being, a sham of the person I used to be. And a lot of people might not even have realized that I was going through all this because I put on that mask and I'm the class clown and I'm the funny one. But it was pretty apparent that I was just super depressed. And throughout all of this, God never left me. I was leaving him. I was just like, see you later. I don't want anything to do with you right now. And he kept pursuing me, and he kept speaking to me. And I was just like, I don't want it. You can back up. I don't want it. But he just kept pushing, and he kept pursuing me. And when you stop spending time with God and you stop seeking him, that's when you distance yourself from him and you start to do things that you wouldn't normally do. You start to lose conviction. And I honestly, I could not function in normal life. It was becoming really, really hard. I couldn't get anything done. I just wanted to sleep all the time or eat all the time. And I couldn't function because I would go, and if I went out in public, I would have panic attacks all the time. So I just didn't want to go out. So I just stayed in and continued doing drugs or whatever I was doing to fulfill those needs. And, I had a friend commit suicide in March, and that was really hard on me. And 13 Reasons Why came out, and it was just like all those little things we don't even realize can impact us. I couldn't follow through with anything. I separated myself from everybody, and I did my own thing, and it was the worst experience of my life. And if I told you stories of what this year was like for me, you would be shocked, honestly, I feel like. But turning 25, I can tell you that God is redemptive, and he is refreshing, and he restores. And I never thought I'd be happy again. I really didn't. I didn't think that I would make it to 25, honestly. And I remember just sitting in my mom's living room, and I was telling her, and I was like, Mom, I really need help. And she just said, well, ask God to help you, like he will. And I was like, yeah, I understand that. But I really need help, because it wasn't a matter of if I'm going to kill myself. It's a matter of when. And that's a scary point to get to when you feel that way. And I never understood how people could get to that point when they know God. How can you become suicidal when you know Jesus? He's so good and faithful and, restoring. And he's a healer. But I understand now, when you distance yourself from him and you don't spend time with him, I mean, you can do the unimaginable and live this terrible life that you didn't even dream of, because you're not with Jesus, because you're not blending with him. You're not letting him lead. You're not making him the center of your life. And that can make your life chaotic. And I learned that the hard way. When you push him away and you don't trust him to heal you, you don't trust him to fulfill the promises he's given you, life can take a dark turn, because you're no longer having him at the center. And it took a lot of friends and a lot of people praying for me. And I just had gotten to that point where I was so scared. I was scared that I wouldn't fulfill God's plan for my life. I was scared that I wouldn't get to see his purpose in my life fulfilled. And that scared me more than the life of destruction I was living. It scared me more than all those temporary pleasures. And I was just so depressed, and I had this vision of what my future was going to look like. And it was sad, and it was lonely, and it was heartbreaking, and it was just a waste. It was a waste. And I know God put so much talent in me, and love for others, and an ability to reach people. And I was throwing that all away. And you know what? That realization shook me back to reality. I got back in church, got in some Christian therapy, surrounded myself with good, uplifting friends, and got in small groups and got some accountability. And I turned my life around, and I put God at the center again. And it feels so good. So, I didn't think I'd make it to 25. And here I am. So, no matter what you're going through and what you've done, God forgives, he restores, he heals, and he redeems. And when you put your hand back in his hand, he can help you, because his yoke is easy and his burden is light, and he has made us more than conquerors in this life. So I'm excited for 25. I'm going to go to Malawi on a missions trip. I'm going to be singing on Victory Family Church's worship teams, and doing some small groups and hanging with good friends. And I know that this year, this 25th year, God is going to move mountains in my life. He's going to move mountains in your life. And he's going to use me to touch people. So now I don't just sympathize. I empathize. I understand what people are going through. And I know how to witness to people now. I know how to pray for people on a whole new level now. So if you need prayer, hit me up, direct message me, text me, call me, because I am a walking miracle. I am a testimony in itself, that God can heal and restore, because he made me new again.